So I have one more panellist here, Laila. So just explain your story a little bit.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Spain as a daughter of African immigrants. I come from a very humble background, and one of the things that we were able to do growing up, and one of the few moments that we were able to spend family time together, was Sundays and weekends in general. And one of the things that we used to do is watch F1. So from a very young age, I was attracted to those really fast cars and that environment, and I knew that I wanted to be able to design those really fast cars. So 2007 arrived. Lewis was there, and that was the moment I realized, okay, I want to be there, but I know now that there's a space for me. So I focused on my studies into getting to F1. At the end, I was able to make it, move to the UK, and somehow Lewis ended up being the person that allowed me to do my master's as part of the MSc Motorsport Scholarship by Mission 44 and the Royal Academy of Engineering. And now I'm going to be joining Mercedes in September.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. So are you graduating? What age are you at the moment?
So I'm 24. I finished my aerospace engineering degree at Brunel University a year ago. I'm currently finishing my master's in aerospace vehicle design at Cranfield University, which I'm currently doing my thesis on.
Okay. Without this scholarship from Mission 44, without Sir Lewis Hamilton doing what he's done, what do you think your life might look like?
I probably wouldn't even been able to do a master's. I remember when I applied to Cranfield and I got accepted, I was so happy because it was the university that I wanted to be at. But then it was a sweet, bitter situation because it was like, I'm now in, but I don't know how I'm going to pay for this, and I don't even know if it's going to be possible. So if I didn't get that scholarship, I probably would have not been able to be there, and as a result, I've probably not been able to get my job in F1 and to be right there having this conversation with you. I really don't know where I'd have been. I'm really glad to be where I am, and I don't want to think about other options because they probably would have not been what I enjoy, because I enjoy where I am.
Did you win a scholarship?
Yeah, I was one of the 5 recipients of the scholarship. So the scholarship basically is focused on getting people from black and mixed black backgrounds into motorsports by paying a full master's course that includes the course fees and living expenses. So
Wow.
everything's sorted for the masters.
So dare I state that he was your hero?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, it's a bit still surreal to think that the person that I was watching as a child when I was 7 ended up being the person that has allowed me to pursue my higher education, because I would have not been able to afford this otherwise. And that has helped me to end up in the sector. So
That's magnificent. Have you met Sir Lewis?
no, I'm actually going to meet him on the 4th of next month. So really looking forward to that in Silverstone. And it's also going to be with my first Formula One race. Growing up, I didn't have resources for that. So really excited to finally be there.
Okay. And what was it your family did when you were younger, growing up? What about your mum?
So my mum was the first engineering. She was the first one to bring the engineering into home. She was the handy person, as I like calling it. She was an engineer specialised in welding, industrial welding. So she was always the person to fix everything at home. And because it wasn't as easy when she had me, she had to take me with her to work. So I always grew up around all of those tools and all of those, which is probably not, and it probably
don't look at the sparks.
Exactly. It wasn't probably the safest of settings, but it started that spark inside me. So, so she has been one of the biggest inspirations for me. And I wouldn't be here without my parents, both of them. They have been my strongest support in life.
Do you think that maybe because of your mum you have this interest? Or if you lived in a parallel universe, do you think if your mum had a different career, maybe you wouldn't have felt as inspired?
I think my mum had a lot to do with it. There was a very short time of my life where I considered doing medicine, but then very quickly I was like, that's not my sector. I'm not a person that can deal with blood and all of those things. So maybe, if it wasn't because my mum, maybe. But I think it's in my nature that hand tooling skills, if that makes sense. I'm also neurodivergent, so I'm a person that likes doing practical things, and I struggle in some areas, but one of the areas I thrive is engineering, like anything to do with maths, designing. I think probably would end up there anyways.
I'm glad you've mentioned that because I'm also on the spectrum, so I can associate
Yeah.
exactly with this neurodiversity. And mine's been quite a recent kind of
Same.
diagnosis.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how it takes so many years for a woman to find out that we are on the spectrum or that we have any sort of neurodiversity. And especially when you narrow it down to race and gender, it becomes a bit more challenging
Yeah.
because the diagnosis criteria is set for a specific gender and ethnic background. So, yeah, really interesting. I'm really glad that you got finally your diagnosis. Probably has answered a lot of your questions about yourself
Yeah.
and some of the things that are part of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always had it, but I had an accident, and that actually made them sort of made them worse. Not say made them worse, but emphasised the symptoms that I have, and then I've kind of developed some new ones as well, which has been quite a challenge. So, how has yours maybe challenged you as you've been, getting older and going through your education?
So, I mean, as a child, I always knew I wasn't the same, not only because of my ethnic background, but because of how I saw the world. I always knew that there was something different about me. People always told me there was something about me, different about me because of the way that I act, the way that I express myself, my interests as well. So it was really challenging because the education system in that moment completely neglected those needs. And instead of trying to investigate what was happening, it was more like, let's leave her there on a corner.
Did you feel like there was something wrong with you? Because I did.
Yeah, I always felt there was something wrong with me. So when I finally got that diagnosis when I was 21, my first reaction was getting upset and being like, no, that's not me. Like, that can't be possible. And that was my own bias against, seeing neurodiversity as something negative. So after that, it was a whole journey of like acceptance. It firstly started by clicking, oh, these things that I was doing now make sense. Now I understand where they come from. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just this person. And that has really helped me at the end to work on those things that I struggle with. And being able even to have this conversation right now with you. So it has been a long journey, but I'm really glad that I ended up finding out because now I feel like I'm in a much better place. I'm much more in peace with everything that I've been through with my life and the things I still sometimes struggle with.
Yeah, I think hopefully there's going to be a bit more emphasis on people with neurodiverse conditions because there is a spectrum and the spectrum is quite important because not everybody has the same symptoms, not everybody has the same, one extreme to the other.
And masculine is a big thing as well, so depends on how good you are on that. Can be really, really difficult to find out. So
yeah, definitely, and it's very good to meet somebody that can also kind of associate and understand day to day what you might have to go through and consider, and even down to things like speech and talking can sometimes be quite tricky.
Yeah, it's really, really tricky. I mean, especially when I was sitting there. I mean, it's not my first panel, but I struggle looking at the people. I normally just tend to look at the host of the panel, but it's about challenging, and at the end I try thinking that me sharing these stories is going to help someone, and if it's only one person in that room, it's already worth the nervousness and struggle of going through it. So, and I think
it's worth it because you've helped me.
I'm really glad to hear that, and I think with time I'll probably continue to improve in that area. And
So regarding your working future then, what does that look like now things are going to change?
Okay, so I'm about to join Mercedes Formula One to do my thesis as a placement, and then in September I start at Mercedes High Performance Powertrains, where I'm probably going to be focusing on the mechanical design of the power unit.
Okay.
So really looking forward to that, and also something really important to tell everyone: when you're looking for a job, make sure that the site that you're going to work on, they're ready to facilitate everything for you. If you have special needs, if you have any sort of disability, that they're there to support you and understand you. You don't want to be in a place where you're not supported, especially when you have to spend there so many hours of your life. You want to be in the environment that allows you to thrive and be yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really quite important message for what's going to be kind of probably coming out from the teams this year and Formula One this year, that to get the best out of your staff, which is what you want to maximise the hours that your workers are working for you, is to create an environment where we can thrive.
Exactly. And if during the application process for those people that are still applying for jobs and early in their career, if you ever get a rejection because of your neurodiversity or because of anything that makes you stand out, that's not the place you want to be in. Because I got that in during my hundreds of applications that I made. Some companies that were like, oh, you lacking this, we can't have you. And it's just like, I just told you that I'm struggling in this, I'm aware of it, but it's because of this reason. So if you get rejected because of that, it's not a you problem, it's the company's problem. They're not ready. And
like
you don't want to be in that environment.
Anyway,
exactly.
Right? Exactly. Okay, so the future does look very bright for you. So regarding the neurodiversity anyway, kind of thinking about that in your life and the stresses that that can cause, this industry anyway, Formula One motorsport, is a highly stressful industry as it is, without any additional, daily challenges that we face. You mentioned before on the panel when you were chatting about having a healthy balance in life. So just emphasise that just a little bit more, because there are a lot of people out there that do struggle with a balance.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying in the panel, I'm a person that 100% is the minimum acceptable. Anything underneath is not okay. And the last year I had to learn to find that balance, because at the end you're draining yourself. I ended up draining myself to the point that I was starting to lose that motivation. And if something that you need in this sector is motivation, because through all the challenges that you're going to be facing, you need that drive inside you. And if you drag yourself to the limit, that's what you're going to lose. So it's really important for people to look after themselves, to know when to say stop, to know when to put the limit, because your job is a part of your life and it's something that you can get joy out of, and not many people get to do that. So if you drain yourself, you're going to end up hating it, and it would be a really sad experience. So looking after our mental health, being able to set boundaries, being able to have hobbies outside of F1, that's something really, really important. And being able to communicate to your team when things are not going great and when you need a break.
Yeah, and I think that obviously there's a massive importance on a company facilitating that people are on various spectrums, or people that are they're of all the diverse groups, that are out there. But I think the most important thing is that we have to take care of ourselves. We're primarily responsible for ourselves at the end of the day, and it's pointless of a company looking after you if you're not looking after yourself.
Exactly. And a lot of the Formula One team, something they provide with is well-being support 24 hours. So I would say, regardless of what sector you're applying to, make sure that your company can also support you, especially in F1, because things are stressful. So make sure that your workplace has also ways of supporting you, supporting your mental health, and has a team that you're safe to go and tell them things are not going right, I need this, I need that, I need a break. And it's absolutely okay to ask for those breaks.
Well, it's wonderful advice. It is absolutely wonderful to meet you as well. And I wish you the best of luck in your career as you go onwards. And hopefully we'll meet again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you do it, but I've been seeing you in every single event I've been going. So you're doing a really good job.
I'm getting around. I don't know if that's good or bad.